Actually, I am going 6-0 in the division because the rest of the division sucks.
This is the best division in football, Tori.
Take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you and we reporting all of them stats. We coming to you live to keep you updated. Broadcast across the country, we the fan favorites. Break the volume to the max and don't nobody touch it. We cross the topics off the list, addressing every subject. So if you ain't got a clue, then you can tune in and give it 24 hours and we back again. Breaking news, new scoops, we the top dogs. From the fields to the courts, we report it all. Buzzer beat us through your speakers, we the ones to call. Trust us for the news if it's got a ball. Giving you the top stories cause we love the turf. Tell a friend to tune in and where you heard it first. Yeah, you're listening to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them stats. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them facts. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them stats. Cause you listen to the Man Hour.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. We got the fresh new merch over there. We got the blog section happening over there. We're giving you 4 to 5 blogs a day over there. So check that over there. My man Andrew just dropped a couple blogs about the Panthers schedule coming up. We're going to talk about their draft here later in the show. But I got to welcome the man, the myth, the legend himself. The peanut butter to my jelly. The peanut butter to my ladies. The French toast to my syrup. The Wyatt Williams at _Wyatt Williams. What's up, Wyatt?
I need to make a hair bet. My hair is getting way too long, and because I had that softball incident the other day, I can't wear a hat right now. So I can't. So what I've done for the last excuse me, what I've done for the last couple of months or a couple of weeks, I've just put my head into a hat. That way it's not, it's just, I got long hair, it's in a hat, it doesn't matter. And it's starting to get really annoying now. So it's like, I have got to get a haircut.
So you want to do a hair bet, is what you just said?
Not a bald hair bet, but hey, go get a haircut bet.
Oh, that's just lame. Who wants to do go get a haircut bet? That'd be fun to watch. Come on, Wyatt. Don't ever bet your hair if you're not ever going to bet your hair. Sheesh, man. Whatever, guys. So, guys, we are going to break down the NFC South tonight. We're going to start with the Buccaneers, next to the Saints and the Falcons, and follow up with the Carolina Panthers. So we are going to do that. But Wyatt, we have to start with something new tonight. Tell the people what it is.
Yeah. So first off, a lot of people are familiar with the game. Excuse me. I've got a tickle in my throat. The game Wordle, a lot of people are really familiar with. You basically get, I think it's 6 to 8 guesses, and you gotta eventually get to the correct word. So this is pretty much that, but for football players. So we used to play a game called Guess Who, on this show, and essentially that's what Weddle is. It's Guess Who, but instead of Mike Buck coming up with the players, Weddle comes up with 2 players for the day. So there's easy mode and there's hard mode, and every day you get 1 player, just like Wordle. You get 1 player for each day, and you get 8 tries for the regular mode. And regular mode is all skill positions, so it's quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and I believe that's it. As for the hard mode can be literally anyone on a 53-man roster in football. So it can be really hard sometimes, and it can be not that hard sometimes, but it's always hard. Hard mode is always very difficult. I have not yet failed a Weddle that I've done. So, with that being said, fingers crossed we continue the streak tonight.
Toot that own horn.
On the line, because now if I fail, it's not like only I know.
Yeah.
Man Hour Nation knows.
Man Hour Nation does know. All right, well,
we're going balls to the wall here.
So let's start this week off with just easy. We're the easy mode, and then once we get the hang of it, right, we get our toes wet. Then we'll dive into the hard mode, because quite frankly, I need to touch up on my lineman names, right? So
I'll help you. I haven't done either for today. It was so, you don't understand how hard it is in a group full of sportscasters who play both easy and hard mode every single day.
Yeah.
You have no clue how hard it is to not know what the Weddle is for the day. Yeah. I had to cover my ears in so many conversations today because people are like, "Oh, did you see the Weddle today?" And I'm like, "Stop, get away from me."
La.
Cover my ears.
All right, well, bring it up. Bring it up and let's do it, man. This is easy mode, right? This is easy mode?
This is just easy mode. So we're going to get 8 guesses here. And basically, You get this screen right here, and we are gonna start out. So you just start out by picking any skill player in the league. That's how you start out. You just go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. I normally like to start out with a quarterback because quarterbacks are always easier to get to.
Right.
So you can immediately take something off the board right there. So with that being said, I always start with Patrick Mahomes, your guy, but we can start with anybody you want to.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes is perfectly fine because I feel that will narrow down to NFC, AFC, give us a division or, close to it, like at least. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is definitely a very good choice there.
Well, let's start with Patrick Mahomes.
What's up, Drew?
See.
Drew,
Okay.
play with us in the chat here, man. So, it is not Patrick Mahomes. It is not Kansas City Chiefs, right? It is.
So basically, he is 26 years old. His number is above 15. He's shorter than 6'3". He is not a quarterback. He is an AFC. It's an AFC team, but it's not the AFC West, and it's not Kansas City.
And it's not a quarterback. Okay.
Said, it's not a quarterback, and they play for the AFC East, North, or South.
Right.
They do not play for the AFC West. So, and they're pretty short here. So I'm thinking it's probably a running back or a wide receiver.
Yeah. I like Tyreek Hill for the next one.
You like Tyreek?
Yeah.
Let's go with it. Let's start with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. No.
Okay, here we go. So if it's yellow on the height or the age, it's within 2.
Oh, I didn't realize Tyreek Hill was so old. That old fart.
I didn't realize he was that old either. He's 28. I thought I knew he was. I thought he was probably like 26, 27 though. I thought he was about the age of Patty Mahomes. But
okay. So not AFC West and not AFC East.
Correct.
So he's 6 foot tall.
He's either 5'11" or 6 foot, and he's not. So he has to be a running back then. So short running back, and unless there's a short, I don't think there's a short tight end below 6 foot. Is there?
No. All tight ends are like 6'7", right? 6'5", 6'6", 6'7".
Tight ends are massive.
Sheesh.
So it's gotta be a running back.
Yeah.
And it's not AFC West or East, so it's AFC North running back or AFC South.
Right.
I kind of like Nick Chubb here.
Yeah. Chubb or Hunt would be a good choice.
You want to go Nick Chubb?
Yeah, let's go Chubb. Chubbalicious. There it is. Oh.
So it's Kareem Hunt. You were right.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
hey,
there we go, Kareem Hunt. There we go. Yes, sir.
All right. We've solved our Weddle of the day.
Yeah.
Do we, since that was fast, 4 guesses, do we dare try hard or are we skipping it for now?
Let's go ahead and try hard. Why not? Let's just do it, man.
You want to?
Go balls off.
Okay.
Drew says, can you state what those teams are? What do you mean, Drew? So it tells us what division they aren't, right? So if it is yellow, it tells us it is in the AFC, but it's not the West or the South. So we narrowed it down to the North or the East. So,
all right. So this is where it's hard. This is any player in football.
Yeah.
Like I've had to be a kicker before. This could be tough. So I like starting with like a middle ground person, somebody who's, between 26 and 28.
Right.
So who do you want to start with this time, Buck?
Well, I feel like since it was an AFC player on the other side, this is going to be an NFC player.
Okay.
So do we dare just go Aaron Rodgers off the bat?
Let's do it.
He's old. Well, hang on. Aaron Rodgers is an old fart. So
he is pretty old. That's not like a middle.
Yeah, that won't really narrow it down. How about Jimmy G?
That's a great one. Jimmy Garoppolo.
He's probably what, 27, 28.
He's probably
maybe?
almost 30, something like that, just below 30. He's got to be like 28, I think. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 30.
Okay,
and they're younger. Let's see. So they're 27 or below. Their number is 13 or higher, and they're either 6 foot or 6'1". They play in the NFC West. That's huge. We got the NFC West, but it's not
short.
San Francisco.
Yeah,
and they're short. I'm thinking probably a cornerback.
Right. So
because it can be defense too.
Yeah.
So do you want to go with an NFC West corner? Short NFC West corner with is should we go just Jalen Ramsey to try and narrow down the team?
Yep.
Okay.
That's who I was thinking. I mean, that will narrow it down to Rams or whoever, right?
Right.
There you go.
Okay, so he does play corner.
Yep.
He is either, let's see, he's either 26 or 25.
Yeah.
And he's 6 foot. because he's two away from here. He's so it's within 2. So he has to be 6 foot. So we've got the height now too. Okay, so
what teams are in the NFC West, Drew? We have 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals.
So he's either a Seahawk or a Cardinal.
Yeah.
He has to be. Okay. So
and he's a cornerback. Right.
And he's a corner. Should we go ahead and just guess a corner from either one of those teams? Okay, so a corner from is Byron Murphy still with Arizona?
I don't know. Drew, is Byron Murphy still with Arizona? That's a great question. Yeah.
Seattle corners. Let's see here. Barrett, not Shaquille Barrett. You want to try Shaquille?
Yeah. Wait, does he still play for Seattle? He's the guy with the one hand, right?
Or Shaquille Griffin. No, that's Shaquem Griffin, his brother.
Okay. Yeah, let's
Shaquem is the one that doesn't have an arm.
Yeah. Let's try him. Shaquille.
Oh, never mind. He's in Jacksonville now. Okay.
Oh. Boo.
Okay, well.
So the number where kind of narrows it down too. So it's
25. We know that now.
Well, the jersey number helps too. So he's 26 and below, right? And 10 and above 10.
Well, he's at least 2 below that, or at least 3 below that. So he's 23 and 13. He's between 23 and 13. His number is.
This is tough. So he's a cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks with Arizona Cardinals. 25, 24 years old, 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And a jersey number between or below 24 and above 10, right?
Correct.
Drew says Buda Baker.
12.
Buda Baker.
Buda Baker?
Yeah.
Buda Baker is a safety, though.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's listed as a safety.
Okay.
The Buda Baker's a really good guess, though. But
I can't even think of the Arizona Cardinals cornerbacks right now. I'm drawing a blank.
I'm drawing a blank here on that one too. I don't remember if Byron Murphy is still with them. If Byron is he still with them?
Byron Murphy, I don't know. Like that. I mean, I think so, but this offseason has been so crazy, right? You don't even know.
Right, no kidding.
Yeah.
So should we go?
Let me think. You can try him. Try the Byron.
Okay, so it is a Seattle Seahawk.
Okay. So it's a Seahawk. It's a cornerback, 6 foot tall. 25 years old. Wow. We should know Seattle's cornerbacks, right? I mean, we definitely should know. What the hell? Oh man.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And we're not going to use Google, are we?
No, we're not.
We're not going to use Google.
I was just trying to check if Byron Murphy was on it. That was the only one that I couldn't remember if he was on Arizona. So I'm trying to. Oh gosh.
Drew saying Dornell Baker.
Should we try Baker?
Yeah. And why? I wouldn't see why not. Dorrel.
That's not on here.
Yeah, that's weird. Interesting. Huh.
Well, that's odd.
Very odd. Okay. Shoot. I want to use Google so bad.
I know, right? Right?
Oh,
this
man.
This is where it gets tough.
Yeah. Definitely very, very tough. I mean, like, I can see them in my head, and I feel like I know who they are, right? But for whatever reason, I cannot think of the cornerback.
Right? Why can't I think of a single Seattle corner right now? Like, not one is coming to mind right now. Oh gosh.
Who is the kid that has like the fourth? Is like he's the fourth. Jones the fourth. I can't think of his first name. Jones, but it's Jones IV.
Sidney Jones?
Has to be. I mean, that's the only Jones IV, isn't it? Jones the fourth.
Oh!
Yeah, there you go. Boom, baby.
How did you just guess that?
I was the Legion of Boom. I guess they're not called really the Legion of Boom anymore, but their jersey numbers are 20 and 23, right, on the outsides. And I do remember seeing the 4th, but I couldn't remember his first name. So I was just like, I was thinking like the 4th, like who is it, right? So
yeah,
but yeah, so there it is. I mean, Sydney.
That is wild. Oh my gosh. Well, there
that
we
was
go.
pure luck. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that was pure luck.
That was awesome. See that? Then there you go. And that was
Yeah.
Weddle.
So that was tough. The hard is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Or, yes,
like,
it is.
The easy's pretty easy. I think. I mean, because I feel everybody
I've never
knows
been
quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends,
Right.
receivers, right? But
Right.
yeah, once you throw linemen in there, oof. Hell, you throw linebackers in there that are not like a premier linebacker, you're like, what the fuck, right?
Right. See, it's the best
Yeah.
whenever it lands on your team. Whenever it's one of your team, when the hard mode is your team,
Yeah.
that's whenever it's the easiest because it's like, oh, well, it's just, obviously you'll know them. So it's like
you are
don't-
supposed to know them, and then you draw a blank. You're like, who was the guy
Right,
that
then
got
you look like
burned
you're not a real
last
fan.
year? Oh yeah, Shornson, right? Yeah. All right, guys. So that was Wordle or Weddle, right? Weddle is what it's called. It is a
Weddle, yeah, like
it is
Eric
a playoff Wordle, but it's Weddle. So we got that going for us. We're going to start implementing that into hour number 2. We're going to cut the show a little short today. T-ball wore my ass out, dude. I am sweaty as a motherfucker right now, dude. I got like, you know how Drew was saying like swamp smell, dude? My asshole smells worse than asshole. It is like asshole pooped on the asshole, and then you didn't wipe for like 2 days, man. It is terrible right now, and I'm sitting in the hot garage. It's terrible. But anyways, why it is time to break down the infamous NFC South. Tom Brady is back, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have that going for them. So why, with that being said, how did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do in this year's draft?
Well, first off, did you see what Tom said today and all the news with him now?
Stupid.
He's definitely
$374
retiring
million.
after this year now, I think.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
100% he is done after this year.
Especially if he's already made a deal with what is it Fox?
Yeah, it's Fox.
Yeah, if he's already made a deal with it's done. Like he's definitely done.
He basically took Tony Romo's spot. That's basically what it come down to.
But anyway, so starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I thought that their draft was pretty good. It was definitely not the best draft for this division, but all in all, it was a good draft. They added some nice pieces to their team. As we start here with, they didn't even have a first round pick, so they got to pick the first pick of the second round, which they spent on Logan Hall, defensive lineman out of Houston. Which, if you watch the tape on him, he's a really good defensive lineman with a ton of upside, and I think he adds a lot to their defense. So I really like what they did in the second round also with Luke Godecki out of Central Michigan, too, adding some protection for Tom Brady. Tom Brady's getting old. I mean, let's be real about it. When they added Tristan Wirfs, everybody was like, oh, they're adding him because Tom needs some protection. This is the same thing. He needs protection. The more your 45-year-old quarterback gets hit, the more chances he has of breaking his neck. I mean, it's like, it's kind of rough. So that was their second round. I was pleased with their second round. Looking at their third, I liked as well because they just lost Rojo, right? Where did Rojo go?
I know he visited Kansas City, but I don't think he ultimately signed with Kansas City. I'm not for sure. Like, I can't remember, to be honest with you.
I thought he left, but either way, they needed some running back depth on this team, and they added Rashad White here, running back out of Arizona State, who was a good 3-down back, and I think a guy who come in and fit really nicely with Leonard Fournette. So I really liked the moves that they made. Excuse me, in the first two, I guess, first 3 rounds, their first 3 picks. As for round 4, they got Cade Otton, tight end out of Washington, added to the tight end depth. So really, this draft was really them just padding a lot of holes. They got Cole Kieft later on as well, another tight end. Zion McCollum added to the defense there as well with Andre Anthony, edge out of LSU. And then when we look at the 4th round, I was really impressed with the special teams group for this year. And I think there's a lot of guys who, once again, we mentioned this a bunch, could come in and be a guy for your squad for years to come. And Jake Camarda, punter out of Georgia, was just another one of those guys. He's a guy who will be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a long time, unless if he decides to go elsewhere, he'll be in the league for a long time. So they got themselves a good punter here, and they filled a lot of holes. They patched a lot of stuff. So with that being said, their best pick for me was Logan Hall, defensive lineman out of Houston. Like I said, I think he's an instant day one impact guy. When OTAs roll around here, we'll be seeing him a lot. I think he immediately starts on this defensive line next year. And overall, their draft grade for me, I gave him a B, just because they just, they didn't really, do anything crazy to try and get a guy, a first round guy or something like that. So obviously right there, kind of sets him down a little bit, but I will say they padded a lot of holes that they had. They filled the needs that they did need. So I'm giving them a B overall.
Yeah, and when you finish the season 13-4, and the previous year you won the Super Bowl and you returned all 22 starters, like you don't have a lot of holes to fill. So I mean, right. Definitely did well there. And so we're going to move on now to the next team here, Wyatt, and that is the New Orleans Saints. They finished 9-8 last season outside of the playoffs. They lost Drew Brees in retirement, and they lost Sean Payton as well. So how do you think they did in this year's draft?
I thought their draft was just a little odd. Like I like some of their picks, Olave, and I like Penning as well. I feel like they did good in the first round, and then second round with Alontae Taylor. I feel like that they did good, but I just feel like it was a weird draft. Like they traded up to get Olave whenever I don't know if they necessarily needed to do that. They're what started the wide receiver frenzy. Like when they traded up to 11 and got Chris Olave, the rest of the league panicked and was like, "Oh God, the wide receivers are going to go off the board immediately. We need to trade up now and get a wide receiver, or if we're sitting there, we need to take a wide receiver now because these guys aren't going to be there." So they caused the whole frenzy. And while Chris Olave is going to be a beast, and I mean beast with a capital B-E-A-S-T, I just don't think that they didn't really need to trade up and make a move like that. But you know what? If your guy is there, go get your guy. And they did that. So they also got Trevor Penning, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. And a lot of people really didn't know about Trevor Penning coming into this draft. It was all Icky and Charles Cross and Evan Neal were the big talks of the draft for the tackle position. But Trevor Penning is just as solid of a tackle and could end up being the best offensive lineman out of this draft. But with that being said, I still thought 19 was just a little high for Penning. I really did. But he could pan out. It could all be okay. But I guess I just thought that the whole draft overall, it was just kind of confusing. They didn't go after a quarterback that I felt like they really needed some depth there to fill, even if it was in the 5th or 6th round. I mean, Carson Strong went undrafted, and Carson Strong was a heck of a quarterback in college in Nevada. He did a great job there, and I was surprised that he wasn't there. So I was surprised they didn't get him. E.J. Perry as well. I mean, there were just a lot of quarterbacks that I thought that, New Orleans at some point would have to take somebody to fill the depth, because while, Jameis Winston was a great quarterback at Florida State, he has not done anything except for throw 30 picks in a year since he got into the NFL. I'm sorry, Combs, but you were horribly wrong about how great that Jameis Winston was going to be. He was not great. So I was just kind of dumbfounded that they didn't go after a quarterback. Obviously, I wasn't that surprised they didn't go after, I didn't expect them to go after Pickett or Malik Willis or Ritter and get one of the top quarterback prospects in the draft, even though both of their selections, 11 and 19, were before any other quarterback went off the board. They could have taken a quarterback, and they chose not to, which I kind of get that in the first round. You still want to give Jameis another shot. You still maybe even want to give Taysom another look. I don't know at this point. He wasn't that great last year when they had him fill in a little bit at quarterback. So, yeah, I was more just kind of just surprised by a lot of stuff for them. So, but that being said, they didn't really impress me that much with this draft. They got some pieces that the offense needed and the defense needed, but it wasn't, I don't think it was where they needed to select those guys, and it wasn't the best guys on the board at sometimes. So with that being said, I still gave them a C+ because overall I thought their draft wasn't that bad. They only had 5 total picks, so there's not a lot of room to work with there if you want to add a bunch of depth and stuff. So you only got 5 picks. So they did trade up and got the 19th pick as well. Or excuse me, traded up and got the 11th pick and ended up getting the 19th as well. So they had 2 first-round picks, and I thought that those were their 2 highlighting picks. I thought those were the 2 best. But with that being said, their best pick it's got to be number 11 in the first round. It's got to be Chris Olave out of Ohio State. I mean, they're pairing him with another Ohio State wide receiver in Michael Thomas. And that offense needs more wide receiver weapons. They don't have wide receivers in New Orleans. They got a great running back who acts as a wide receiver 90% of the time in the screen game in Alvin Kamara.
Right.
And they've got Michael Thomas if he can get over himself and injuries, and he can be a great wide receiver when he does that. But they just didn't, I think Olave will add a lot of explosiveness, and he adds a deep threat to this offense. But I just, other than the first round, I wasn't really that impressed with everything else. I just wasn't. So like I said, their best pick for me was Chris Olave, and their grade for me was a C+.
Yeah. So just to add to your pick there, I think we need to look into a little bit of them moving up in the draft to get a wide receiver, because Michael Thomas has kind of been a cancer on that team since he had that record-breaking season a couple years ago, and then he had an ankle injury, right? Air quotes there. And then he punched a safety, I think, in practice and got suspended for the rest of the year. So we really need to look of, are they going to move Michael Thomas? That's why they moved up. So let me ask you that question. Do you think they are going to move Michael Thomas since they got their guy? They got their receiver.
No. I don't think they will. Simply just because, other than Olave, I think the reason why they got Olave kind of shows that they're keeping Michael Thomas, because if they weren't going to keep Michael Thomas, I think they would have traded him on draft night, and I think they would have taken 2 first-round wide receivers, because they literally have nothing.
Right.
Their wide receiver class is just they're out. It's empty pretty much. So while they do have Callaway, and last year I get it, he was supposed to go crazy and all this stuff. Callaway did nothing last year, absolutely nothing. And what is it, Tyquan Smith or whatever? That's their third wide receiver 3 or something. He's trash as well. So there's, he's not that good of a wide receiver. They needed to add more wide receiver depth. So with that being said, yes, I do think that them going after a wide receiver in the first round, just one wide receiver in the first round, shows that they intend on keeping Michael Thomas around.
Yeah, I hope you're right for Combs' sake, because Winston is nowhere close to a top 10 quarterback. And then if you trade your top receiver, I mean, you're kind of up shit's creek without a paddle, right? Like at that point,
Winston's a top 20 quarterback.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about Combs about that next week when we're back in the morning and we give him a call. But
still riding that?
Yeah, of course he is, man. He is never going to let that. Combs is a typical man, Wyatt. Men never admit when we are wrong. We can literally say we fell asleep in the hammock, right? And then we don't even have a hammock. And we're still going to, no, honey, I fell asleep in the hammock. That's just the way it is. So that is just the way it is. Welcome to manhood, Wyatt. You will learn that eventually. So speaking of manhood, the Atlanta Falcons lost their manhood when Calvin Ridley decided to bet on NFL games last season. He is out for the entire season. Matt Ryan is gone in Atlanta. So Atlanta Falcons really needed to nail this draft to even have a chance to even win 7 games to match what they did last season. Last year they did go 7-10. So Wyatt, how did they do in this year's draft?
I thought this was the best draft in the division. I thought Atlanta did a incredible job. They had 8 total picks. And with their first pick, they got who I thought was the best wide receiver in the draft in Drake London. He's like 6'5" and 220 pounds and runs a sub 4.5 4.40. He's just a freak. He's a go-get-it guy. He just throw it up in the air. I mean, just think about it. A lot of people for some reason weren't really latching onto him like they should have. I thought he was a top 5 pick. I really did. I thought he's that caliber of an athlete, because USC was horrible last year, and I mean absolutely horrible. And he was the only offensive playmaker that they had that was, worth a half of a biscuit. And so defenses were completely scheming against him. I mean, completely keying on him. He was double covered every single game, and he was still putting up freak numbers. I mean, he still put up, I don't even know how many receiving yards. It was over 1,000 receiving yards and was double covered all year, and was like the entire defense was keying on him the entire year, and he still was putting up crazy numbers. So I thought he was the best wide receiver in the draft, and I really didn't think that, unless if other guys fell to perfect places, I didn't really think that there was another wide receiver in this draft that was even close to being the caliber of Drake London. So right off the bat at pick number 8, that's huge for them. They got a guy. They are going to have just him and Kyle Pitts alone. I'm excited about. I'm excited to watch Kyle Pitts and Drake London work together and see this Atlanta offense for this year. While I don't think that they're going to be, some spectacular team and all this, that I don't even know if they win, 8 games. I think that this offense is going to be really exciting. I think it's going to be an exciting offense to watch. And they're going to give good teams a really hard time a lot. I think that, I don't know if they'll win all those games, but they're going to be the team this year that everybody's like, man, Atlanta was in, 12 out of their 17 games. They lost 8 of those and only won 4 of them that were close, but they were in them. This is what this team's going to look like for this year coming up. And I think their draft said that as well. And in the second round, I cannot say his name. Arnold Ebikete. I don't know how to say his name. Anyway, he was an edge at Penn State, a great edge at Penn State for that. And I think he's going to make a huge impact for them on the defensive side of the ball, as well as Troy Anderson, linebacker out of Montana State. So another big impact guy. Now we look at the third round, and this is where it got really exciting for me. Desmond Ritter, I thought, was a second-round guy, possibly late first-round guy, and they snagged him in the third round. And he was the second quarterback off the board, too. He went before Malik Willis did. So that right there kind of surprised me a little bit, but I will say I think that Desmond Ritter fits their system better than Malik Willis does. I think that I will say, while I thought Malik Willis was a better quarterback than all the quarterbacks in this draft, I still think Desmond Ritter is going to fit with Atlanta better than Malik or Kenny Pickett would have, or Matt Corral, whoever they could have taken. So I really do think them getting Ritter was the best case scenario for them, and them snagging him in the second round at pick 74 was huge. And if you listen to that phone call, the guy's a winner. I mean, he turned the whole program around to Cincinnati. Go look at the tape. Go look at the stats. He simply is a baller. He's a great football player who is going to have, I think, a good NFL career. It depends on, obviously, how everything works out there. I think I think the Falcons have to give Marcus Mariota a shot first. But if Mariota fumbles the bag and he can't run the team, a team with a lot of options and some decent protection now, if he can't do anything with that, then it'll be Ritter's turn. And I think Ritter does take it and run with it. I think Ritter's a great quarterback. And I think he's going to do some really cool things for them. Next, they have D'Angelo Malone, edge out of Western Kentucky. Just again, another edge piece they added to this team. This defense needed a lot of work, and I think they gave it a lot of work. They did a lot of really good things for this defense. In round 5, they got Tyler Allgeier, running back. This is just because in the last couple of years they've been really fidgety with the running back position. They haven't been able to kind of hold down a guy and figure it out. So once again, just another guy they're throwing into the mix, trying to give some touches. We'll probably see him this year a little bit run the ball. I would be pretty surprised if we didn't see him at all this year. But now I don't know if he's an RB1 or anything like that, but I do think he'll get some reps this year, and I think he could possibly become an RB1 down the road. In their round 6, they just, once again, this is just the depth rounds, and that's what they did. They got depth for the offensive line, something they needed, and they got depth at the tight end position, something that they needed, and they got John Fitzpatrick, a guy who can do universally everything. Kyle Pitts was arguably what a lot of people could say is the best prospect in last year's draft, and he's an incredible receiving tight end, and he's a good blocking tight end, but I don't think he's as good as John will be for this offense as for blocking. So once again, I'm excited to see how John fits in this offense. I think that he can add some new assets to the running side. You can throw him on the edge there, and he could block for you as well. So overall, I think that the Falcons really just did a great job. I thought that they were a top 5 draft in the league, not just number 1 in this division. I thought they were top 5 in the league for drafts. And with that being said, their top pick, as much as I want to go with Drake London because he's awesome and I think he's, possibly going to be the best wide receiver in this draft class,
Right.
I can't. It was going to be him until their third round pick of Desmond Ritter. When they snagged Ritter in the third round, that was pretty huge because that is a possible first round guy.
Right.
A lot of people just didn't really have the respect for this quarterback class this year, and it really surprised me. A lot of NFL scouts just weren't feeling this quarterback class this year, and I was pretty confused by that, honestly. And I think that a lot of guys are going to come into the league and have chips on their shoulder now because of that, and they're going to prove them wrong. And I think that Ritter is possibly one of those guys. So yeah, with that being said, Ritter is my best pick for them, and my overall draft grade for them is simply an A.
An A. Simply an A. Yeah, so I would be kind of curious to see. I'm really looking forward to this quarterback competition that is going to be happening in Atlanta, just because we know they drafted Desmond Ritter to be the future, right? And yes, we know they did they trade for Marcus Mariota or they just pick him up from free agency?
I think they just signed him.
Yeah, so they did pick up Marcus Mariota, and he is listed as a starter, but he also has been a backup for the last 4 years, right? So who knows what he truly has, right? So I'd be kind of I am very intrigued to see that matchup happening. And Atlanta hasn't been good since the whole Vic and all those boys. We had Vic and Dunn and who was the other big name that they had? I mean, like they just haven't been very good for a very long time. And
right, and
this year they could be surprisingly good, honestly.
Absolutely. And something else I forgot to mention, if you look at Troy Anderson, linebacker out of Montana State, he actually is this like almost mega athlete, if I could explain it. He played quarterback, he played running back, he played linebacker. So he started out as a quarterback for Montana State. He then transitioned to a running back after his first 2 seasons. Then he fully concentrated on the linebacker position, and he became an all Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year. So it's a guy who he's a football player. Right. It's just that simple. He puts on shoulder pads and a helmet, and he can play literally anywhere. He's just a baller. He's a gamer. So I'm really excited to see what he does as well. And he was another candidate for my best pick, but Desmond Ritter going in the third round, I couldn't skip on that. I really couldn't.
Yeah, you are 100% not wrong on that at all. So speaking of being 100% wrong, I was 100% wrong on the Carolina Panthers last season. I jumped on that bandwagon big time when they were 3-1 or 4-0, whatever they are. Sam Darnold and CMC were clicking. They were doing their thing. And then guess what? CMC got hurt again. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Sam Darnold's play went way down. They picked up Cam Newton. They don't know what they're coming or going. And this is Matt Rule's prove it year, 100%. They had to nail this draft, and they have to nail next year for Matt Rule to continue as a head coach. So Wyatt, how did they do?
I thought overall it was a pretty solid draft for the Carolina Panthers. First off, they got what could be the best offensive tackle prospect in the draft at round 1, pick 6, in Ike Ekwonu. Offensive tackle, he played at NC State, and he was just incredible for them. So with that being said, I was really impressed with their first round picks. I was kind of surprised they didn't trade down, but I think the reason why they didn't trade down is because Icky was still there. If Icky wasn't there, I think they would have traded down. So because the offensive tackles just kept falling, they were like, oh, well, I mean, if we can get Evan Neal or Icky, we'll just stay right here. And eventually it ended up falling like, oh, we're going to get to choose. Do we want Icky or do we want Evan Neal? And they chose Icky, and I really don't think you could go wrong with either one. Either way, I think both of them are going to be all-pro offensive linemen, and this is the guy they went with, and I think he's going to do some great things for them. He's going to protect their quarterback incredibly. I mean, he's just a great left tackle, and I think that he could play essentially anywhere on the offensive line, wherever you needed him, but he's going to be primarily at the tackle position, and he's going to be protecting the blind side of one of their 7 quarterbacks now on roster?
6.
I mean, it's like, oh my, yeah, right. No kidding. So speaking of quarterback, then in the third round, they go with Matt Corral, quarterback out of Ole Miss. And I like this pick. I like Matt Corral, just another guy like Desmond Ritter that could have went in that late first round, early second round, but just didn't. I was so stunned this year when all these quarterbacks just kept falling and falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. It's like, God, at some point it's got to stick, and this guy's got to run with this. And what he ever did, they just waited till the third round, and then finally, they started just flying off the board. And I believe in the third round there was 4 quarterbacks taken off the board, something like that. So, and 3 of those 4 guys arguably could have been first round quarterbacks, I think. So once again, just another solid quarterback that was taken in the third round. And I think that they're going to really benefit from this, and he's going to be a really good locker room guy. And you say it's Matt Rule's prove it year. I think it's Matt Rule and Sam Darnold's prove it year. If Sam Darnold, after getting the protection now that he needs, he's got CMC, he's got Robbie Anderson, he's got DJ Moore. I mean, he's got a nice defense backing him up there. What else do you really need? The complaint always was, he's in New York. Adam Gase, and I even said the exact same thing. And I agree with that still, that Sam Darnold really struggled in the beginning because of Adam Gase. And I think that probably is going to ultimately end up ruining his career because Adam Gase had his hands on him. So while that's disappointing, I think this is his prove it year. If he comes out and he just plays like garbage and, I'm seeing ghosts, if he gives us that bull crap again, then I really do think that they get rid of him and they stick with Matt Corral. As for Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton's just going to be a locker room guy for them until he finds another home. And he's just going to end up bouncing around the league. And it's really sad to see because, God, Cam was such a polarizing athlete. Like, not just a polarizing quarterback, just an athlete in general. I mean, he packed such a punch with the way that he hit tacklers and the way he could run around everybody, his elusiveness, but yet he had this big arm and all this. So it was just, It's really sad to kind of see how his career has gone after the MVP year, because it seemed like it took a while for him, and finally he had figured it out. MVP season, the Panthers are 15-1, they're in the Super Bowl. Cam Newton finally figured it out, and then it's just like ever since then he just died off, absolutely just fell off the face of the earth. Superman Cam became not Superman, bad man Cam. Like, he was just terrible in New England, and he's shown flashes here and there. And I don't doubt that he still couldn't, go and be a starter somewhere and have an impact. It's just where. That's the question. I don't think it's Carolina. I think Sam Darnold gets the job first this year. And if Sam Darnold doesn't work it out, then I think Corral gets a shot.
I can tell you that Cam Newton will never be a starter in the NFL again.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean his prove it shot was in New England, and we saw that he literally couldn't throw the ball 7 yards down the field, and just that was the beginning of the end for him 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough to watch, but anyway, so they get Matt Corral there in the third round, and I think that he's going to be once again just a guy who come in and he could be a starter for this team going down the road. I think this could be their quarterback. Obviously, they're not banking too much on it because he's a third rounder, but I think this has a potential of being a guy. I think this year's draft has the most potential ever for third round quarterbacks. I have never seen this solid of a quarterback group in the third round. I mean, you got to think Desmond Ritter, Matt Corral, Malik Willis went in the third round. I can't remember. There was another quarterback, I believe, that went in the third round as well. And it's just like, I have never seen that talented of a group of quarterbacks in the third round. I was shocked that they made it past the second round. I was absolutely just dumbfounded, especially Malik Willis. That just was so confusing to me. So anyways, now moving on to their fourth round pick, Brandon Smith, linebacker out of Penn State. Just another solid guy adding to the defense. Same with Barno below that. This defense is solid, but still needs some pieces here and there to fill in to make this defense elite again like it once was. Then they got Cade Mays, offensive guard out of Tennessee. Cade Mays fell so far. This was a guy I thought was a day 2 guy, and he ends up being picked 199, just like Tom Brady, in the 6th round. And I was just confused. This year's draft was just so odd. Like, obviously, it's the NFL draft, and you're not going to be able to predict something perfectly. And I believe that every year the best mock drafts are only something like 25 or 30% correct, something like that. And it's just like this year, nobody predicted anything. Nobody knew anything about this draft. It was all so just scattered all over the place. And Cade Mays is another great example of that. Cade Mays is a guy that I was really excited to see go in the second, third round and be an impact guy from day one. And I still think he can be an impact guy from day one for this Panthers team. So yet another steal for this team right there in the 6th round. Then they got Kaylon Barnes, cornerback out of Baylor. And same thing here, just another guy. I didn't think he would have been a 2nd or 3rd rounder. I thought Kaylon Barnes, would have been more like a probably like a 5th rounder, maybe a late 4th rounder. Kaylon ran the 2nd fastest 40-yard dash in NFL history at the combine, and that really shot his draft stock up, or at least I thought it would. He ran a 4.23, so nobody is going to outrun this guy. I mean, you got a 7th round pick who runs a 4.23 40, and he can be a return specialist for you. He can guard any receiver in the league speed wise. Now, obviously, man to man, all that stuff. Is he going to go up and stiff a wide receiver in midair and block the pass? I doubt it. I don't know if he's that guy, but I'll tell you what, for a 7th round cornerback, he's not going to get beat. Nobody's going to beat him over the top. If they're going to beat him, it's going to be on some crazy wild catch over top of him because nobody's faster than him. There's one person in NFL history who had a faster combine. His name is John Ross. And what does he do now? I'm pretty sure he works at Dick's Sporting Goods. I got a solid bet he works at Dick's Sporting Goods. So I'm just kidding. I really hate the way John Ross's career went. But that's another story for another day. Anyways, so best pick from this draft for the Carolina Panthers, I am going to go with Ike Ekwonu simply because I know I hate taking those early 1st-round guys because clearly they should be your best guy. But it's simple as this. Ike should have never been there at 6 for them. He really should not have. They should not have had to pick between the 2 offensive linemen there. It should have been whoever fell to them, or they trade out of the top 10. That should have been what happened to the Carolina Panthers, but it's not. They got really lucky, and Ike Ekwonu fell to them. So with that being said, Ike is my number 1 pick here for the Carolina Panthers. As for their draft grade, I've kind of bounced back and forth with this. I gave the Falcons an A, and I said they had the best. So with that being said, a close behind, I'm going to give them an A-. I'm going to give the Carolina Panthers an A-, and it's like right on the edge of being a B. So I'm going to give them a 9.0 out of 10, just barely over that A- line. 8.9 would be a B+. So I'm going to give them an A-, but it's close A-. So yes, Carolina Panthers get an A- for me, and their top pick is Ike Ekwonu.
Yeah, so if you guys are following us over here on the blog section over at manhourradio.com, our blogger of the Carolina Panthers, Andrew, wrote a great article about this guy, and he is absolutely in love with Wyatt's pick there, and he thinks he's going to do great things in Carolina as well. So Wyatt, we do have a couple minutes left here, and we had a poll going over here on the YouTube page of who is going to win the NFC South, and it is a 50-50 tie between the Panthers and the Saints. So
really?
Yeah, so who do you think is going to win the NFC South? It seems kind of to be wide open, like almost per our voting over there.
I don't think it's very wide open. I don't think it's not Panthers or Saints. It ain't, unless if Tom Brady doesn't play this year.
Right.
If Tom Brady's playing, nobody's stopping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be the best team in the NFL.
Right.
They're the best team in this division, but they might be the best team in the NFC and the best team in the NFL, possibly. I think there are 2 other better teams and then maybe 3. But they're one of the top dogs in the NFL. I don't even think they're a top dog just of this division. I don't think that it's Saints and you said Saints Panthers?
Yep. Saints and Panthers.
Oh yeah, no. I strongly disagree on that. I think the Panthers could have a 9-win season.
Right.
I think that the Falcons could have an 8-9 win season, and I think that the Saints could have a 7-8-9 win season. But Tampa Bay is going to win at least 12 games this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they won what? We won 13 last year, right?
Yep, they were 13-4 last season, and they did have the hardest schedule in the NFL, right? So,
yeah, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody in that division overtaking them just yet.
Yeah,
I think once Tommy retires, maybe.
Right.
But if TB12 is still on the field, there's not a team in the league, I think, that I could sit here and tell you, oh, they're 100% better than that team. I mean, simply if they've just got Tom Brady, that gives you the competitive advantage you need right there.
Yeah,
I gave it to you.
So I feel like the Saints are out of it 100%. Like a new head coach, a new quarterback, right? Yada yada yada. Basically a brand new offense and a new deep defense. So I feel like the Saints are probably the worst team in the division. Now, I do like the Falcons. I like what they did in the draft. I like their quarterback situation. I like their offense as a whole, but their defense is still meh. Right, you don't know what to expect from their defense, and hopefully that 28-3 culture is gone now with Matty Ice and Julio Jones and like all that stuff. Like they stopped blowing games, but until they prove me wrong, I still can't put them in that upper echelon. Now the Carolina Panthers, if CMC is healthy and can play a full 17-game season. The Carolina Panthers looked pretty good those first 5 games that he played, right? I mean, they were balling, right?
They looked incredible. I actually told my friends before the season started, I was like, hey, listen, Sam Darnold, he's going to be a guy there. He's really going to be a guy. I think he's got a lot of talent and got a lot of stuff to do. And when CMC was on the field, Sam Darnold was winning games.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know they didn't have the strongest schedule at the beginning. I think they played like the Jets and let's see who they beat. It was like the Jets and the Falcons.
Jets, Falcon, and Houston.
They beat some traffic. Yeah. They beat some traffic teams. They beat some trash teams.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, but like
it's still NFL teams, right?
And when CMC was healthy, that was a good football team. That was a winning football team.
So. I am not going to put them in first place yet because I haven't seen CMC play a full season and I don't know how long, right? And so it's clearly is Tampa Bay's division to lose, obviously. And when you go 13-4, you're just a year removed from the Super Bowl, and it is hard to bet against Tom Brady. Let's just be flat honest.
I mean, literally, they lost by what? A point or 2 points or 3 points was it to the Super Bowl champs this year?
Yeah, well, what was it? I think it was a last second touchdown, right, or something that put them ahead.
I think it was. Let's see, what was it? Actually, that's a good question. I need to look that up. It was a close game. That's all. And it was down to the wire. So if things go their way there at the end of that, let's see here, Buccaneers versus Rams. Yeah, it was 30-27, and it was a last second field goal. That's what it was. So I mean. They lost by 3 on a last second field goal to the Super Bowl champs, and the year before this they won, and they didn't just win. They annihilated one of the most incredibly assembled teams ever in the Chiefs that year. I mean, that defense was on point.
That defense was on point.
Yeah, I mean, defense was playing incredibly, and that's always been the knack for them, was that all their defense just isn't up to par, and their defense was up to par that season. It was playing really, really good football. And they beat them in the Super Bowl. They pummeled them. And then the following year, they lost to the Super Bowl champs by 3 points. And I promise you, if they beat the Rams, they probably go on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you are probably exactly right. Like I think we all kind of expected the winner of that game to make it, like at least make it to the Super Bowl, like on the NFC side. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Bucs. You are taking the Bucs. It's hard not to, right? But that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Tomorrow night, same time, same place, right here, 8 p.m. East Coast time on YouTube.com/man hour. We're giving you guys a little bit of sample of what we do here in the morning on evening time. Maybe next week we'll do the same thing. Why? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. My work schedule hasn't been announced, so I'll know tomorrow. So, but
I will say I kind of like this. I like this 8 o'clock thing. It's better than waking up early in the morning, but you know what? If I get to talk about sports, it's a good day. It's a good day.
Well, normally I would be at work right now, Wyatt. So unfortunately, I can't do nights right now. So that's just the way it is. It definitely sucks.
Oh, I'm just picking on you.
Oh no, kidding. Yeah, I mean, I prefer nights too, because we get Drew, we get Alpha Rob in there, we get One Pride, we get Luke G. You know, Those guys aren't up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Drew is.
You ready? I got a crazy story for you. I just remember this. I didn't mean go ahead. Sorry, finish what you were saying.
No, you
but
go.
I just remembered I have to tell you a story.
Crazy story, boy. Go.
Yes, I did something for a first time today. You know what it was?
You got laid?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
No. I
was doing that 616.
I did a cooking. I did a cooking show today at school.
Okay.
The film students needed a on-air talent, so they came over to the sportscasters and offered for us to come do it. And we have to have 24 hours of integrative learning IL hours each month, which are all like, you get those in the studio, you get those by doing games.
Right.
It's outside of school work, and you have to have 24 hours of it each month. So I go into the studio, and I'm running audio for today. I was in the audio room, and they offered for something. They said they needed a helping hand, and they get some extra IL hours. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I get some extra IL hours, and I get to help out. Sure, let's do it. And I go next door, and they're like, hey, we need you to do a cooking show. I'm like, I can't cook. You were asking a terrible cook. No, so I had to go over there and just read off the teleprompter, and then I had to mix some beans and some rice together and do like an infomercial cooking channel type thing. It was called college. What was it? It was called the College Cookbook or something like that. I don't know what it was. It was some clever name involving college and cooking. So they were like, we also did something called Baskin Ramen, 31 different ways to make ramen. I was like, what?
What?
31 different ways. They just
throw it in the
boil
microwave
it
and add some
put
water
the
for 2
seasoning on.
minutes.
Eat it. Like,
no, so this is 100% real talk, Wyatt. This is before I was making good money in college, my freshman summer going into my sophomore year. I was a hungry man, right? You found many ways to make ramen last. You add an egg in it. You would throw in some like hot dogs or macaroni. You would definitely find ways to definitely expand
some way
that
to
for a very,
spice it
very
up.
cheap. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, ramen noodles and eggs were terrible. I'm not gonna lie, but they felt you up, But then I had a good football season. Those checks started to come in pretty nice. Well, I should say cash. Some shoes, they pay my car payment, all the good stuff. So,
yeah.
Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Wyatt, send us out, big guy.
Man, our nation. Rise up.
Later. All righty, boss man. We are clear.
I gotta take a poop.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, bud.
All right, see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Yep. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
I gotta record on the court in the booth tomorrow night after we do man hour. So let me ask Trey. I might be able to get Trey on the show if that's okay.
That's fine by me, man.
Okay. No guarantees yet. I gotta ask him because I know we're looking to record tomorrow night at like 10-ish.
Okay.
But if he's available before that, because I know it's not even because we have man hour too. Like obviously I couldn't record it until 10, but he even said that like I don't know if I can record until 10. So let me ask and see if he can hop on for possibly like the last 30 minutes of the show or something and hang out, and then we'll do on the court in the booth right after.
All right, that sounds perfect, man.
All right, see you, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.